A side. They don't need to necessarily ban away the Vox. They could potentially try and pick it up themselves if they are still going to be focused on making sure that it does not go over to Cloud9.
And one thing we need to touch on is the fact that Deft Q is actually not playing for Impunity. It's Blue City instead. He was on the Cruel, and that's why they were able to hold off the early game very well. His rotations were on point, keeping up with Joseph. At the same time, though, he does bring a different sort of hero pool, so C9 need to adapt to that fact.
And you expect that they will be able to do so. They've started off strong in game number 1. But now, swapping to the other side of the draft, that always changes things up going into game number 2. Arden will be the first lock-in.
Yeah, Impunity still putting a heavy focus on Arden as their first pick, even with Vox still available. So now Cloud9, so many times throughout this season, we've seen them lock in the Vox as their first pick on B side if it's available. I'm very curious to see if they're going to stick with that strategy.
Yeah, on B side, they actually have first pick Vox. They also first picked, and they're going to go with Koshka first pick here and then ban away the Baptiste. That's a pretty smart draft strategy because Impunity plays the Baptiste so well.
If Impunity doesn't ban Rona, C9 will pick up Rona with the Koshka and play a really aggressive dive composition and then save their last pick for the hero or the captain hero that could be either a Grace or even something like a Fortress.
Yeah, and how smart is this draft as well to take that Koshka, and now when they come around to their next pick, they will have their choice of either Vox or Rona. Impunity cannot take both of them off the board, so Cloud9 will be getting one of those two comfort picks.
And what's so great, if Impunity does ban the Rona here, that's the other counter pick to the Koshka that you can play fairly well if you manage to get to the late game. So Impunity, to defend against the composition, they have to take away picks from themselves.
Yeah, Cloud9 definitely needs to take Rona here because if you think about Impunity, when they beat Tribe in the first day, they countered the Koshka with a Rona.
Yeah.
So let's see if Cloud9 is going to pick up this Rona here, or they're going to let it slip through and pick a captain.
It also makes so much sense to grab it because Sky was just banned. That's one of the few counters to a Rona that we've seen come out on the fold. So the fact that the Sky's been taken off the board, this just feels like it should be a Rona.
I just really want to talk about the fact that how awesome it is to see Cloud9 having fun on this stage. I mean, this team had such a credible success throughout this year, multiple achievements in the Unified Western Championships, taken both the summer and the spring one. Now on this world stage, even though they lost in the semifinals, fighting for the third place, they're enjoying themselves.
It's good to see that spirits aren't too low, that they are still themselves. They are still the Cloud9 we know and love stepping there on the stage. Vox has been locked in for Cloud9, and Impunity have to decide how to answer that one.
Yeah, I think Rona is definitely going to be on the table here to counter that Koshka, and they could go with potentially a Celeste or even a Lorelei jungle and just basically have a huge dive comp with Rona. And look at Joseph smiling there, winking. He's like, I got my Koshka. I'm going to show them how to Koshka here.
This is one of the first times ever I see Joseph smiling on a stage. Usually he is so focused, but they're definitely having fun with it.
Playing it up for the crowd. They know that they are right up there with Impunity in terms of being crowd favorites here in Singapore. So having a bit of fun there with the crowd, with the camera.
Yeah,
but
honestly,
it is going to be that Rona pick.
I feel like we have a split crowd here, which is a rare thing when Impunity is on the stage.
It's not so much a split crowd as it is the crowd just supports both teams.
Lorelei or Celeste? I think Lorelei will make the most sense because they want to dive completely on the Vox. Blackfeather gets picked up, and that leaves potentially Grace open here on the side, or even Catherine. I've seen Cloud9 actually day one play Catherine with this Koshka composition.
Yeah, Blackfeather makes a lot of sense. I just said it as they were picking there because you can Fortress, it could be the pick for Cloud9, but Grace is also still open. Talking about the Blackfeather though, it works really well against Koshka if you're able to steal away the camps that she will try to invade. But if you go for a 1v1, you will easily get out-dueled.
All right, it's going to be the Lorelei to round out this composition for Cloud9 here. 17% pick rate, less Lorelei than I was expecting coming into the tournament, but still a fringe pick that has had some serious success on the stage. Now, we have to get on into this game, boys and girls. What are we expecting to see coming out of these two teams, and who's going to be able to take it?
Blackfeather pick was risky. We saw Tiger shut down Joseph completely when Joseph was on Blackfeather and Tiger's had Koshka. Joseph and Gabe are going to do the same thing in this game.
All right, so one for Cloud9.
It's with the Blackfeather Rona, though. This combo is so strong together. I think they will be able to overcome. I'm going to go with Impunity.
You're going to rip open your shirt? Or okay. One each here?
Gabe's Lorelei is one of the best in the world. I played with it when I was back in North America. To see it on the stage, I'm very excited. Combined with the Koshka, they should be able to snowball the early game, so I'm going to go with Cloud9 again here.
All right, we have a Cloud9 favored desk, but not 100% this time around. We'll see who is going to be able to take game number 2 in this series. It is about time that once again, I pass it on up to our casters. It's Action Jackson and Denominate.
Thank you very much, Munchables. Game 2 is coming right at you guys. Game 1 was very exciting. We did see some real signs of life out of Impunity in the early game, struggling later on. This time around, compositions are very different from both of these teams. I am expecting a lot of high-octane action, though, with this Koshka coming out from the side of C9.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like that Joseph has got his Koshka, you know, Old School's got his Vox. It's a very strong draft for Cloud9. Iraqi mentioned that Gabe Vizzle's Lorelei is very strong, but the composition into what Cloud9 has drafted coming out of Impunity, the Blackfeather and the Rona, can make it very, very difficult for that Koshka to make it through the mid portion of the game, and we'll be getting ready to get into it.
Alrighty, it's time for game number 2 here. We've got Impunity up against C9. Impunity wanting to make the home crowd feel good here. Cloud9, they looked very strong in game number 1, though. What sort of early game aggression can we expect to see from these compositions? Are we looking for an Elder Treant fight here to kick things off?
Doesn't look like it. It looks like they're both just going to stick to their backs. They want to get, as far as Cloud9 at least, they want to get this Koshka to level 2. That's where she can really start to be a heavy aggressor in the jungle once you have the Twirly Fun and the Pouncy Fun and Twirling Death ready to go.
All right, looks like we do have a pause. We'll get that sorted out for you guys ASAP. In the meantime, we can talk a little bit about how we expect these compositions to function. Obviously, as you were saying, some considerations for this Koshka.
Yeah, the early game should be actually pretty easy for Koshka. She should be able to, in the first 4 or 5 minutes, be able to get into the jungle, steal away a couple camps, start to get a little bit ahead. But as we start trailing, as we start getting to the middle of the mid game, moving into the second portion towards the late game, that's where the Blackfeather and the Rona really start to have an easy time dealing with this Koshka. The fortified health coming out of Rona, the barrier that the Blackfeather is able to provide himself with the on point, and also just the sheer amount of damage that they can bring as well. And Koshka's an assassin. She's very squishy. It does make it a little bit easier for Impunity as the game goes on, but they do have to watch out for Old School. We've seen him time and time again dance around teams, 1v3 the end of a fight, and close things out just because he's so good at building up the stacks on this Vox and keeping himself safe.
So how is Lorelei going to enter the mix here, though? Because it is a hero that is very effective at defending your carry, especially if you're on one of those water pools. You give so much barrier if you echo that water wall.
You absolutely do, which is, going to be one thing that is helpful about, getting I Love Joseph through the mid game. Now, oh, hold on here.
Joseph, he's already going in and getting a little bit of damage down. That was a nice little bit of poke here. Level 2 picked up across both teams on the ones that matter, really. So they're going to be doing some good damage. Engage coming in. That is so much damage coming on to Old School. Rona making some huge plays. Impunity do find themselves first blood here in game number 2, right off the back of that pause.
Yeah, that was perfect execution. They all went in right at the same time. Didn't give Joseph a whole lot of time to think. As we can see, the healing flask didn't even get used. He just died so quickly. And, that's a bit of an edge starting to build for Impunity there. They get first blood, they get the Treant, and they're safely going to be able to rotate through their jungle and get some the gold. But I don't know if, I don't think QC is going to be able to make it down for the ambient. I think he's got to come up to lane as Gabe Vizzle and Old School go ahead and trying to push this one up.
Yeah, they're not able to push it quickly enough to deny too much creeps, though. Kuishi should be fairly fine in picking up those. Notable, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, DefQ is back for Impunity. He was actually subbed out in game number 1, but now he's playing again, and they're looking for Old School. That's a lot of damage right off the bat here, but they can't quite close the distance. Gabe takes some pain as well.
Ooh,
but no execute. DefQ has so much damage on those on points right now. Not too long left on the cooldown either, so he can keep putting those out. Joseph trying to start up a Treant, not going to be able to. DefQ actually the one taking the pain from it, though. It works out great for the Joseph, but Kuishi is backing him up. Joseph's got to be careful about committing too hard for a kill here. Does not have the backup of his team just yet.
As long as he doesn't get hit with an on point, he could at least pick up Def Q, but he's going to go ahead and start up this Treant in the middle. Quarterboy and Def Q both a little too low to come try to contest that. That would have been certain death for at least one of them, probably both of them. And that's going to be a little bit of gold going back over to Cloud9, but this is a pretty sizable wave that QC has up here in the lane. And Cloud9 doing what they do best, trying to invade that jungle early, try to get an edge, try to starve out the enemy jungler. And you know, it's Cloud9. They have really good rotations, but Impunity, their positioning and just their execution is on a very similar, if not greater level.
And one thing you got to take a look at, we mentioned it briefly, but DefQ coming back onto the squad for game number 2 here, you can see the coordination improvements already, to be completely honest. I mean, they've been very much on the same page when they go for these engagements. Yeah, they absolutely have. I mean, even just looking at that first engagement where they both dove right onto Joseph. Now, Old School taking a little bit of bite here out of this Rona. DefQ is nearby as well, so if Impunity want to commit, they have the members available. Cloud9 does have 3 as well, however, and Joseph is doing a lot of damage right now. Yeah, he does. He's got the Eclipse Prism in pocket and another Crystal Bit, so decent. Ooh. Koishi's got to be careful. He's actually looking for the turnaround, maybe. Quadravoy, has he gone too far? Flask popped for both Joseph and Quadra there. Playing it safe, but playing with fire. Yeah, we still have a fountain for Gabe Bizzle and Old School, as well as DefQ over on Impunity, who might get a steal here. Not quite, and now Joseph might be able to find some aggression. Oh, not quite going for it. Thought he would go for it off of the healing camp there, but they're looking for aggression in the lane instead. Nice stun landing onto Koishi. That does allow for some damage to come down. He's got to be careful, maybe jump out of there. Exiting the fray. Ooh. Joseph nearly falling to the turret damage. Unfortunately, DefQ not near enough by to maybe go in and execute that one. Old School's quite low on energy, as is Gabe Bizzle, but they're going to keep the push going for now. Yeah, and you know, we see that big splashdown water pool there coming out of Gabe Bizzle. It's such a useful tool, especially for protecting Old School and Joseph in their passage in and out of fights. Obviously, you get the movement speed for allies as they pass the water, and a slow on enemies, so it can be used to re-engage or disengage the enemy. We'll have to see how it gets used later on. As Joseph now, level 6, this is a key spike for this Koshka, as she has the Yummy Catnip Frenzy. That's a 2.2 second stun that can be used very, very effectively. Blackfeather, pretty low base health and can be squished if he's locked up. Look at how quickly Joseph made a beeline for the lane after hitting level 6 as well, knowing that it was a window of opportunity, a power spike in which he could maybe find a kill. Unfortunately, Flare spotted him out, and the attack has been repelled for now. In fact, Impunity with some good counterattack damage do jump in, chunk out Old School just a little bit. Those fishes are devouring the turret, though. Yes, they are indeed, and this is a huge opportunity for the side of Cloud9. DefQ is level 6 now, so he does have the ability to get out of that Yummy Catnip Frenzy. He can prevent that stun, but QC doesn't have a reflex block of his own, so if they do get into a fight and there is, you know, for example, Rona goes into the red mist, that's a key opportunity for Koshka to come in and get the stun, because it'll cancel out that ability, can't be blocked up, there's no crucible, no reflex, and from there Cloud9 can focus their attention down, and when Rona's not in that red mist, she's not building fortified health and can drop when focused. All right, a couple of big items being picked up here. DefQ now on the Aftershock, notably in that last little engagement as well. Gabe did pop the Flask, not going to be available for the next fight. Both teams have a Fountain. Gabe not going for that Crucible first build we sometimes see out of Lyra's, even though he's against the Gauntlet potentially. C9 starting to make their way in here. They know this turret is extremely low. One more push could be huge, but Kusi doesn't want to make that happen. Look at the engagement, so much damage right away, but Old School is able to make some distance. Joseph does find that Yummy Catnip Frenzy, buying some time. QC very, very low. Red Mist keeps healing him up, however. Old School, he's so close. He's gonna go down. DefQ trying to get out of here. Vanguard buying him some time. Joseph, he wants this kill so badly, but he's getting jumped on again. There's so much damage from Impunity. They want a second one, but they can't quite get there. Great fish food coming out of Gabe Bizzle. Stops it in its tracks. That was absolute perfect timing out of Gabe Bizzle there to save him. And yeah, no Crucible first on Lorelei, so did have that Fountain, was able to help Joseph get out of there safely, but unfortunately School did drop, and we'll have to rotate back up here in the lane. Fortunately though,
Cloud9 didn't lose out a whole lot of damage on the turret. In fact, they didn't lose anything at all, but now Old School, gotta be careful.
Yeah, gotta be careful about face checking those brushes. He does a lot of damage right now, though. Honestly, not too afraid, even though Gabe doesn't have the mana to back him up. But here comes a counter engage. Old School very low again. This time, they find the counter kill. Quisi's already down. Quadra on the back line trying to jump in. DefQ needs to get just a little closer to Gabe, but a fountain has come off of cooldown. 2 kills for Cloud9. Joseph looking for the execute. 1 or 2 more attacks would do it. There's the fountain cooldown for Impunity though, and Joseph has gone so far. He's committing for it. It's gonna be the kill, and he unfortunately goes down to the turret, but still, incredible plays coming out of both teams here.
See, that was such a crazy fight in the end. It's Cloud9 picking up that first turret, but Quarterboy, beautiful timing on that fountain, was able to draw out Joseph long enough. Let's get into that fight. They jump on and they're right onto Old School, but meanwhile, Joseph at full health is coming back into the lane. Impunity were all very, very low on health. They were able to find 2 kills, but because DefQ used the Faint of Heart there trying to kill Gabe Vizzle, he was unable to use that Rose offensive to avoid the stun, and it was only a matter of time before Joseph found 1, he found 2, and he found 3.
You know, that fight was very back and forth, quite even at times, but C9 definitely coming out on top, having picked up the turret. The map pressure is in their favor right now. This is forcing some reaction out of Impunity, though. Look at this. They've just popped level 8 infusions, the level 6 and 7 ones of Cloud9 just expiring. If they pick up some more, they can maybe fight, but they've got to be careful about Impunity having that power spike here.
Yeah, they definitely do, especially on the Rona. It just makes her a little bit more tanky. You get the attack speed, you get the weapon power, you get a little bit of armor and shield from it as well. So it's a very good overall item, hence why it only lasts a couple minutes. But you know, it's definitely a huge opportunity where Impunity can turn things around. If they're able to find a kill or 2, they can easily push down a turret in return, even things up. And that's really the opportunity they need to look for. They've looked very, very, in tune with each other as opposed to game 1. And, we're in this point where Koshka is a very aggressive hero, very high damage output, a lot of mobility. But as the game goes on, we're starting to get towards that second item built for DefQ. And that's where things are really going to start to change for what Joseph is able to do in these fights.
We do have that infusion now picked up and in the pockets of Joseph. Cloud9 maybe wanting to go for a fight of their own here. Old School just popped 1, 2. Great 3-man stun. That's huge. Buys a lot of space for Joseph to go in. Gauntlet coming out for the counterattack, though. Old School needs to kite back. He's going to find that silence onto all 3 members. It makes a lot of space. Another stun comes out from Gabe Vizzle. Impunity just cannot get on target. Joseph, he's looking to go for that yummy catnip frenzy, but QC does have that reflex block to buy some more space. Joseph wants to get in. Old School has that speed up from Gabe. They're going to find a Treant and another kill. Cloud9 are really turning up the heat.
Gabe Vizzle specifically has really turned things on. These fish foods are so on point, landing multiple stuns several times throughout these fights, and it's really allowed Old School that little bit of safety, because we've seen when DefQ and QC are able to get on him uncontested, it's very quickly a kill going over to Impunity. And now, in this mid-game spike for Koshka, this is where Cloud9 really have to capitalize. They need to use their time effectively, because if you don't, it's only a matter of time before Impunity are able to easily turn things around, and here we go.
Yeah, Impunity trying to do just that right now. Old School might have stayed too long outside the base, but a water wall makes him very tanky, hard to jump on top of. Look at these fish foods. Impunity are perfectly seasoned. Delicious.
Definitely some good plays here, but now Impunity, they might be looking for some aggression on the turret if they can find some time for it.
Look at these stuns. They're allowing Joseph to just walk in, get the love tap, get back out. He finds another kill. He's looking for more too. QC does have reflex block again, but Quadra is very low off the back of this. Cloud9 take 2 kills. Joseph wants to keep going. He's looking for Quichi. Doesn't quite find him, though. Can he get one more jump in? He's going to be able to. Reflex block keeps him alive. Joseph is an absolute monster.
That is all about knowing your hero and knowing your limitations. Jumps in with the reflex block to live. Another stun out of Gabe Vizzle here.
Yeah, fountain pop to keep Joseph kind of healthy here. He's trying to back away. Water wall buying him some space. Old School's got to do the kiting, though. DefQ manages to get on the back line. This could be bad news for Cloud9. 1 kill already picked up. Old School, he's trying to find some kind of redemption here. He does have a lot of damage. Good breaking point stacks. But now with Koichi back as well, it's going to be 2 kills to Impunity. Cloud9 overstayed their welcome.
Yeah, overstaying. And again, Impunity is a team that if you make a mistake, they are going to make sure you know you made a mistake. They do it right there, find 2 kills. They might even have time to get some damage down on this turret. It is only Gabe Vizzle, but Gabe Vizzle and this Lorelei has been landing these stuns consistently and may be able to buy enough time.
Yeah, you can see lands another one. He just chunked out like 25% of the jungler's health as the captain with no damage items. This is ridiculous. Cloud9 are playing some seriously good Vainglory right now, and Joseph wants to keep that ball rolling, trying to walk up to Impunity. Doesn't find the opportunity, but they can't always fall back, find that gold mine here.
Yeah, they definitely can, and DefQ needs to get some farm under his belt here. He's only sitting on the Aftershock at 13 minutes in this game. He's not horribly far behind in CS. I mean, there is a pretty sizable amount difference, but it's not like, you know, the 70 versus 13 we've seen in day 1 when Koshka was able to just get so drastically ahead. It's very, very close, where now Joseph, he has a tier 3 complete in that Aegis for defense. He has the tier 2 boots. He has an Aftershock. He has a broken myth, and DefQ is sitting quite substantially far behind. He either needs to get a alternating current, or I mean, Atlas Pauldron online to get onto old school, or complete a second offensive item. And he goes with the broken myth there. So they're looking to be in a better spot here now. There's a lot of gold sitting in DefQ's pocket unspent.
We've also got Quisi actually picking up a Shiver Steel here, and Quadravoy picking up an Echo. So there are some more utility items coming in for Impunity. Should help them control the landscape of these fights a little bit better. The question is that going to matter when Joseph can just jump past everyone and nuke a target on the backline?
Well, the whole idea of Impunity's comp is not to ever be on the backline, but Gabe is another stun there.
Oh, Old School is pretty split from his team this time around. Silence coming out, not doing too much water wall, does buy him a lot of time, and a great ultimate out of Joseph manages to lock down Quadr. Now the turnaround is here, C9, they're looking for more, but Red Mist is healing up. Quisi is not going to be enough, though. Joseph and Old School are going to annihilate Impunity. It's another ace for Cloud9. They're looking very strong here, Denomine.
Yeah, they absolutely are. It was just a sea of splashdown that Gabe Vizzle left before he died. Let's get into this replay a little bit, because another good stun coming out of Gabe Vizzle buys time for Joseph to get in, and the Red Mist comes out onto Old School, but the boots proc and the stun coming out of Joseph is allowing him to separate himself from Impunity. And now there's that sea, there's that water that the Lorelei's been able to put down, slowed down the engage coming out of Impunity. They weren't able to continue their chase onto Old School, so instead they turn their attention onto Gabe Vizzle. They do pick up 1 kill, but they end up dropping all 3 for an ace, and Cloud9 take another edge.
And look at these power spikes coming through. We got a bone saw for Old School. Joseph just picked up so much defensive stats. Gabe's working his way towards an Echo. That's going to be huge when it lands. Cloud9 are very dominant right now, sitting almost 10,000 gold ahead. Impunity is going to need to work some magic to come back into this game to nominate. Where should they start, though? Where's their opening?
Their opening is they really have to find a fight where, you know, maybe Joseph and Old School are a little bit too far apart to make the engagement together. They need to get on. They need to get a Shiver Steel onto Old School, but
Kraken still could do it. Maybe Impunity want to make that happen. Not quite going to, though. Joseph jumping in onto the front line. Old School, he's going to have to kite this Rona. Gauntlet does make it a little bit difficult, but he's got that reflex block. Here comes Gauntlet number 2, but Old School's already well far away from DefQ, making the space happen. Here comes another attempt, jumping onto the back line, but a good fish food, not quite going to be enough. In fact, Joseph is way too low on energy to chase as well. Impunity do a good job of minimizing this Kraken attempt. Joseph actually got to be careful of going down here as well, thinking that stun's going to land. It doesn't quite do it. Water wall not going to be needed there. Doesn't end up buying him too much time. Joseph, why is he jumping in again? Cloud9 are attempting to gift an ace to Impunity. They're going to give it to the Sentry instead. Impunity managing to make a huge play there. Still got to take down this Kraken, but that's a start.
Yeah, it definitely is a start. And what works so well for them in that fight, we were talking just a couple minutes ago about, you know, DefQ really needs to get an Atlas Pauldron online because it's so easy for him to get onto this Vox. It was QC that has completed an Atlas Pauldron now, and he was able to land it onto Old School in that last fight. That bought them a little bit of time that Old School wasn't able to ramp up and get the damage out, and that's where they were able to execute him. They were able to get him before he scaled out of control. And then off the back of that ace, they stopped the Kraken without losing a single turret. They've lost most of one, but it still stands.
I mean, you have to imagine that Cloud9 made the play they did, choosing to give away an ace with the expectation that Kraken would be impactful in the base by itself, and that would be a trade worth making. It certainly was not in this situation, and as a result, Impunity have closed the gap considerably, now sitting only 5,000 gold behind. At this late stage in the game, it's not quite chump change, but it's certainly not that impactful.
It's definitely not, especially as all these builds are getting closer and closer to completion. There's that second Atlas Pauldron now complete from Impunity onto DefQ. Cordovoy will probably work on one for himself as well. And, you know, again, that's where the real opportunity is. Koshka is at the point in the game that she is not the big impact that she was. She definitely still provides a lot of damage, but not quite the way she once did. It's all about old school, building up the breaking point stacks, shredding the armor with the bone saw that he's picked up as well. And that's where he's able to, you know, be that hyper carry that the team needs. If they drop old school early on, it should be Impunity finding the rest of the fight thereafter.
We have a good amount of gold in a few people's pockets here, so what are they going to be landing next? Old School and Gabe both sitting on around 1,300. Kwisi's got 1,500 in the bank. These last couple of items are definitely going to be influential here, but I think the bigger question is, okay, Cloud9, you know, how are they going to keep the pressure on and stop Impunity from catching up?
Well, it's definitely difficult. They need to pick a good fight, and if Impunity keeps forcing fights, then it's not really on Cloud9's decision-making for that to happen. So they need to play it a little bit carefully here now that Koshka's falling off. They need to pick a fight that School is comfortable in, whereas Impunity, they're doing the exact opposite. They want to make School as uncomfortable as possible, and QC's Shiver Steel makes that incredibly easy to do. Yeah,
nice attempt at an engage there. DefQ does get stunned up as well. Cloud9 fishing for an opportunity. We did have a couple of big items picked up right before Cloud9 moved in. Aegis for Old School. Gabe Vizzle's got an Echo now. That in the last fight could have been huge as Old School did get capitalized on, jumped on the back line. Later on here, they've got control of the jungle shop too, so Infusion's fresh out of the shop for Cloud9. Are they going to choose an opportunity here to go in? It's very scary against Impunity right now, having lost that last fight. Can't feel too good as Cloud9.
Yeah, Cloud9, they may be up 3 additional turrets over Impunity, but we're at the point in the game, coming up on 20 minutes, these death timers are getting extremely long, and if they drop a single mistake against Impunity, and Impunity is able to capitalize on it, they can make short work of what's left of Cloud9's base. Probably not enough to close out the game, just because there is so much for them to go through. But, I mean, getting that additional gold in their pockets could help DefQ and QC finish up these builds, as we're still looking for you know, an Aegis on each and tier 3 boots on DefQ.
QC over the wall here is trying to be a little bit sneaky, I feel, looking for an opportunity to jump on and engage in Cloud9. Cloud9 not going to fall for the bait, though. Things have slowed down considerably in Game 2 of this third-place match. We're at 20 minutes, very even across the board. The gold lead really not telling the whole story here for Cloud9. No one wants to take the risk of going for a crack and forcing a fight when the last couple have been so volatile and could have really gone either way.
Yeah, they definitely have. And, you know, when we look at the scoreboard doesn't tell the whole story either. Old School's put out a lot of damage, but it's Joseph that's been able to chase down those really long, drawn-out fights, able to lock down those kills, as well as Gabe Vizzle. I mean, I wish there was a counter on the screen for how many stuns he has landed with the fish food. But, you know, he's been doing such a good job of controlling the movement that Impunity is able to make, and we might be looking for a fight here over the Kraken, Joseph.
Old School's got a second big defensive item after that last rotation by the jungle shop as well. Very difficult to take down Vox right now with all the support he has. I feel like C9 knows they're in a good spot right now. Look at the amount of poke they found onto DefQ as well. Makes it quite difficult for Impunity with no real healing to look for an engagement. C9 do take position on the map. We need some more scout traps from Gabe, though, so they can back up and actually capitalize on this. Looks like for now, they're just going to look for even more gold. Play it safe.
Well, they had to play it safe because they didn't have vision on DefQ, but they did have it on Cordovoy and QC, so they knew the presence of Impunity was there. What they missed was DefQ behind in his back, so was able to recall and hit up the shop. Then, since Cloud9 had the control of the jungle shop, and you know he's topped off on health, ready to go, fish food just misses.
Yeah, but I think C9 wants this fight. They've got some new infusions. Joseph already quite low, and actually a gauntlet stun lands on the Old School. That's bad news for them. Impunity jump on, find a kill to Joseph. Cloud9, their focus wavers for just a second, and Impunity capitalizes.
Yeah, it was perfect placement from Cote d'Ivoire there on the gauntlet. Got a stun onto Old School. QC was able to catch up and get an asphalt round. We'll get into it right now. Cloud9, they poked their heads out a little bit too far. There's the gauntlet. Perfect execution. Stun. The gauntlet does not get reflex blocked. The second gauntlet would have killed Koshka, but instead Rona's going to go ahead and pick that one up. 2 kills going over to Impunity, both going over to QC. Old School will make it out alive, but again, as we mentioned, the Koshka's falling off. Old School,
Old School, what are you doing this far from your base? It's going to be an easy kill for Impunity. Old School has no way out. It's an ace, a very delayed ace for Impunity here in front of their home crowd in Singapore. They're looking to even up this series. They're trying to make this push happen with a massive Kraken take here at 22 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to take that extra couple seconds they had off the ace. They've gone down, got the chance to shop. They've topped off their infusions. And now here with the Kraken, they're ready to march and push down. And it's not looking like there's much Cloud9 can do. Again, Koshka has just fallen off, and it's all about DefQ and QC at this point.
It sounds like the drums of war here in the Callahan Theater. Impunity fans sending their love to their team as they push in. C9 don't have Old School for 4 more seconds, not even thinking about defending that turret, but Impunity playing it quite safe. They don't look for anything past number 2 here. Just going to back away into the jungle and try and choke out some more resources, take down some sentries, slowly wear Cloud9 down.
I think it's smart of them to just go ahead and pull off and look for one more favorable fight. If you try to force too much there, if you dive too far, which we see so many times with teams, they get a little bit too ahead of themselves on this Kraken. They've only got a turret and a prayer left in their base. That second turret only has a sliver of health. If they give up a couple kills, you know, it's only a matter of time. It'll be Cloud9 rushing down in the base and close things out. So they're doing it safe. They want to look for one more fight. They know they have the tools to beat Cloud9 at this point, especially if Cote d'Ivoire keeps up the brilliant plays on this Arden. And we'll just, you know, it's only a matter of time. Joseph has completed a Dragon's Eye, which is a little bit interesting on Koshka, as she's very in and out of the fight.
Seems a little optimistic, though, after that last fight where he kind of got wiped out in the matter of seconds.
It feels that way. It definitely feels that way. So we'll have to see. I almost would have liked to see Joseph go with an extra pair of War Treads just for that extra mobility for School to try to help him get out of sticky situations. And Impunity, they're going to be looking for one more fight and try to even things up here in this series.
Yeah, this is tough times for Cloud9. They are a bit on the back foot here. DefQ also picking up some more damage for himself in the form of that alternating current. This time after the broken myth that you were talking about last game. Impunity, I feel like maybe a good option for them here is just to start focusing on sentries. Make it so the points of safety that Cloud9 can back away to during Kraken engagements don't exist outside of their base. You know, make it so they have to go all the way back if they want to get back to safety.
That definitely could be as Cloud9, they're down here in the jungle. They could be looking to rotate up and find a fight on their terms here. QC.
Oh, Joseph, he's thinking about going in here. DefQ gets stunned up. That could be big, but a good reflex comes out onto the Yummy Cat and Frenzy. Impunity playing very scared right now, backing away. They don't want to give up a fight here, but here comes the turnaround. They stun Old School again. That is huge. Water Wall buys him some time, though. DefQ is very, very low. Cote d'Ivoire trying to stay on to Old School, but he doesn't have the backup of the team. Here comes Rona. Red Mist could be huge if he just gets there, but a stun from Gabe again. These have been so impactful. Queasy just won't die, though. Old School is a second Water Wall. The Echo doing so much work for Gabe. Somehow, C9 bring it back. They got to get this ace, so Quater, can he find a kill onto Old School maybe? No, not going to happen. Not enough damage. Another stun. C9, they've only got 2 turrets to push through. How much can they take here, Denomine?
They're looking for it here. They've got plenty of time to you know, definitely push for the win on this one. They do only have 15 seconds or so left on DefQ, so he should be up reasonably soon, but it's not. It shouldn't be in time. Gabe Izzle and Old School, I think they're going to close this one out, but DefQ's up, turrets are
He's
down.
going to try and make it happen. He's got to get in here. Old School with the water wall is so tanky, though. There's just no way. Impunity, this game was so close to being theirs, but Cloud9 are trying to end things right here, right now. Queasy's up. He's looking for the kill. It's not going to be there. Cloud9 take game number 2. They're 1 win away from being our 3rd place team.
Yeah, it was definitely good execution there out of Cloud9. Impunity had